Hello friends, my name is Carlos Rios and I am the founder of Pixels to Music. I am here to help you become a successful, highly skilled, and knowledgeable video game composer. Today I'm going to be showing you my approach to writing Megaman X Inspired music. The music for this franchise evolved quite a bit over the years. Here, I'm going to be focusing on the sound of the first 3 installments in the series, which are the SNES titles. As a bonus, I will share with you a quick formula for writing music in the style of Mega Man 2 at the end of the video, so do stick around until then. Alright, so if you want to follow this tutorial as precisely as possible, you will need a copy of Chord Gadget 2. This will be your main DAW. You're gonna need the Chord IM1 VST, which is in the Chord Gadget 2 app. It's called the Darwin Gadget. And you will need the Chord Autori Gadget for drums. Okay, these are available on iOS, macOS, Windows. That said, you can replace any of these instruments with different ones that you prefer that sound similar. And of course, you can also use whatever DAW you are comfortable using. This method that I'm showing here is just what's worked for me in the past, and I especially work for composing music in this particular style. I believe Chord Gadget 2 is also available for Nintendo Switch. I've never used it, but it sounds like a great opportunity to use that touchscreen on the Switch. Yeah, I bet you forgot I had one. So yeah, you can probably follow this tutorial even if you only have a Nintendo Switch. You can go in and buy the app. I checked the other day and I think it was like 48 bucks, so you know. And that's about as much as it is on the iPad anyway. If you want to get it on macOS or Windows, it's a lot more expensive than that, so it's really not too bad. So for this particular track, we're going to be making, you will need the following melodic instruments. You need a distorted rhythm guitar. All right, distorted lead guitar. You need synth brass, and you need some kind of mallet instrument, plucky synth, something like that, something that's short and quick, has a short attack and quick decay. For the drums, like I said earlier, I use the Autori Gadget, which contains samples from a few different Sega Genesis MD games, and they just kind of sound cool and in style. For the bass, you will need a couple of different bass sounds. One would be a picked or finger bass instrument sound. And definitely you need a slap bass sound as well. So to make our track, we're going to be drawing inspiration from the power metal genre. Power metal is a subgenre of metal that is all about building hype and making you feel like a hero on a grand quest. Lyrics for music in this genre usually talk about fantasy themes, you know, dragons, swords, wizards, and that kind of thing. So a few notable bands in this genre are Halloween, Blind Guardian, Camelot, Bloodbound, Hammerfall, Dragon Force. That's if you're from an English-speaking country. My first language is Spanish, so instead of this kind of stuff growing up, I would listen to bands like Rata Blanca or Mago de Oz. But yeah, basically same thing, just different language. So power metal is kind of a silly and cheesy genre that, you know, that's part of the fun. It is part of embracing that like almost childlike attitude, and you know, when you play a video game like Mega Man X, you want to do that. You know, you're just having fun. You're just being like a child, and it's okay to be like that sometimes. You know, you don't want to be like that all the time, but sometimes, especially if you're playing a video game, you're trying to enjoy and have fun. Just do that, right? Feel nostalgic a little bit. So I don't see much of point in going in like super deep detail about writing music in the power metal genre, but do keep these two things in mind. One, choose an appropriately fast tempo, okay? Nothing too crazy fast, unless you're in a big boss battle against Sigma or something, then yes, make it really fast. But focus on building momentum and hype. Just like power metal is meant to make you feel hyped up about being part of some kind of fantasy world, your Megaman X Inspired track should make you feel like you're about to go on an all-out rampage, taking down AI robots gone rogue, right? The second thing, the goal here is to create a simple, catchy, and memorable riff, okay? And to achieve this, focus on repeating short musical phrases with slight variation and writing singable melodies that can be easily hum or whistled. It's gonna take you really far. And simple scales or simple little scale patterns that just stick in people's minds, that kind of thing is gonna help a lot, okay? I'm gonna talk a little bit more about how to do this in this next section. So the song should have at least 2 distinct sections, all right? And if you're feeling really adventurous, you can add a third one, which would be your bridge. For this kind of music, I like to start with the drums. They should be simple, groovy, and they need to have like really epic feels. Remember at the end of like important transitions to add a crash cymbal right at the downbeat. Okay, next, use your rhythm guitar instrument to create an epic power metal riff, okay? Make sure to use power chords and stick to a simple chord progression. And do make sure to add a little syncopation to keep the song interesting and moving. Then do another riff for the B section, or the second section. Okay, after this, let's add some bass. So first, create a simple version that just follows the chord progression, and then add some octave leaps and passing notes to add a little bit more energy and movement to the bass line. So once you have your full accompaniment, you have your full foundation to your track, that's when I like to start working on melodies. Writing a memorable melody can be really challenging, extremely hard, right? It is a kind of, it's not a hard skill, like learning how to play piano or guitar or whatever. It's a soft skill, like public speaking, or performing, right? Acting, it's a soft skill. There's certain technical aspects of it, but really you get good at it by doing it over and over and over again and making lots of mistakes. I'll give you a couple of strategies that should help your melodies improve and be catchier, but remember that this is a long-term game with few or no real shortcuts as far as I'm aware. Before I share these 2 tips with you, I just want to say that if you're enjoying this video so far, if you're learning, if you're getting any value from it, you should take a moment to subscribe and hit that notification bell, all right? Done? Okay, all right. So these are a couple of tips to help you write a catchier and memorable melodies. So number 1, use syncopation. Instead of emphasizing the strong beats of a melody, try emphasizing the weaker beats. Use call and response short phrases to create a longer melodic phrase. Now, when it comes to transitions, the drums do a lot of the work. Instead of finishing the groove in the normal way, add a little bit of syncopation on the kick and snare for simple transitions, and full and intense drum fills for bigger transitions. Okay, so to export your music from Gadget to your DAW, you will need to have a Dropbox account and export all your tracks there. You can then download them and add them to your favorite DAW for further processing, mixing, and mastering. Do keep note of your tempo settings on the Gadget app so that you can match them whenever you have your tracks on your DAW project. Okay, so this is how to go about it. In the Gadget 2 app, the Chord Gadget 2 app, click on the file logo at the top left of the screen and select Export from the pop-up menu. Select all tracks. All right, you might be asked at this point to connect to your Dropbox account or create a Dropbox account or whatever. So do so, and once you do so, your files will start rendering and uploading automatically. The only option that allows you to export all your tracks individually is the Dropbox option. So this is why I recommend using this option. You're more than welcome to knock yourself out and try a different method to do this. This is just what's worked for me in the past. Okay, once the tracks have been uploaded, go to your computer that has your favorite DAW installed, log into your Dropbox account, locate your files. You should be able to select all your tracks individually and then download them all as a zip file. So keep note of where you downloaded them, right? Usually some kind of downloads folder. After downloading the zip file, unzip the folder and drag all the tracks onto your preferred DAW. Some DAWs require you to start to create the tracks before you add the audio files. Some you can just select everything, drag it in there, and it creates the files automatically. I'm gonna be using Logic Pro for this. Okay, so once you're in your DAW, I recommend that you adjust the tempo settings so that they match those of your Chord Gadget project. And at this point, you can do some mixing, add some further processing, and you can start mastering your track. Now, if this music is going to be playing in the background of a video game, like let's say someone commissioned you to write the music for a background stage on a mobile game or something like that, you're gonna need to make it loopable. So a seamless loop that right when it ends, it goes back to the beginning and you almost don't even realize that happened, right? It just keeps going on and on forever, which is why it's important to have at least an A and B section because it creates some movement and less ear fatigue, because loops, if played for long enough, can be very tiring to your ears, right? To create a loop in Logic Pro, and this should work on most DAWs or all DAWs, but I'll tell you how to do it in Logic Pro using files that were imported from Chord Gadget 2. So you can simply grab the effects trail of your tracks at the very end, okay? So this is why it's important that that you have them in the right tempo, right? So go to your DAW, make sure you're in the right tempo, check with your Chord Gadget project and make sure they match, so that way you can find the very end of the track and then cut it right where the effects trail ends, okay? You want to clip it, and then you want to paste that effects trail at the very beginning of the track. You might need to create a bunch of tracks under the ones that you currently have, but you want to paste it right under all the tracks. So all you're going to have is just the effects trail, but it's going to be at the very beginning together with the downbeat of the track. Okay, thanks so much for sticking around so far. And as I promised, I'm going to show you how to quickly write music in the style of Megaman 2. But before I do that, let me tell you about something I put together to further help you in your journey to becoming a successful video game composer. It is a guide containing 4 of my favorite strategies for generating unique and fresh chord progression. So I created these chord progressions using one of the strategies in the guide. So the guide does assume a good bit of music theory knowledge, so be prepared for that. I do intend to create some music theory tutorials in the future, so also make sure you subscribe and get those as soon as they come out. Okay, for this we need to go back to our Chord Gadget 2 DAW. You need only one gadget, the Kingston gadget. This is a gadget that lets you make 8-bit music. Load 4 instruments, go through each one of them, and change them to the following. The first one is a square wave. The second one is a pulse wave of 25% or 12.5%, your preference. The third one is a triangle wave for the bass. And the fourth one will be a noise channel that we will use for the drums. So let's start with the drums. Choose 3 notes, 1 low for the kick drum, 1 high for the hi-hat, and 1 right in the middle for your snare. So you can record the drums if you like, or if you have terrible coordination when it comes to drumming like I do, you can simply program in a MIDI sequence. Pick a simple progression for the bass and stick to a simple pattern. Again, you can either play along with the drums or you can program in the notes. You can use my guide to come up with a chord progression, wink wink. Write a lead part with one of those square waves and a response to that lead with the other wave. You can then follow the same steps as the previous track to export and make it into a loop if you want to, if you so desire. Thank you again for sticking around until the end. Do let me know what you think of this format in the comment section, please. I would really like to hear your thoughts. Tell me if there's anything you would like to hear me talk about. I look forward to interacting with you via the comment section, okay? That is all I have, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.